This is Bob's book, Dorothy. And this is what Dr. Margaret Longhill, founder of the Will McLean Foundation, had to say about it. In this charming novella, St. Augustine resident Bob Patterson, chronicler of Florida in song and story, creates the character of a valiant woman who lived in Florida at the end of the 18th century. An intense sense of place gives the area of Little Talbot Island and the town of Fernandina an important role in the story, as the author digs deep into its Timucuan history and its 18th century way of life. It is as if the area wanted to be turned into a story. The reader is transported to a place and time when Florida was wilder, but will recognize the enduring realities of sea and rivers, of palms and palmettos, and yes, of hurricanes. Bob Patterson, who has given us the well-beloved song Lullaby of the Rivers and the delightful book Forgotten Tales of Florida, here presents the vivid story of one woman's life and the place that wanted to be turned into a story.
I wrote this book, Dorothy, in honor of my mother. I wanted to honor her spirit. She's almost 95 years old when she passed away, and a more kind and decent human being would be hard to find. In my mind's eye, she was all things that any woman could ever be. She's the spirit behind the story. Her name is Dorothy. Here's a little excerpt from the first chapter. Dorothy had a pretty big garden in the back of the house, away from the tree cover and close to the well. When she grew everything that she needed to survive. One day while she was working in the garden, a young timber rattlesnake slid across the porch and into the house, where it took cover underneath her bed. Dorothy didn't care all that much for snakes, but over the years she tolerated a big king snake that hung around the house. Dorothy called him Raymond, after a sly but friendly old man that she knew up in Fernandina. When she finished raking, hoeing in the garden, she headed back to the front porch for a little respite, so she'd get a cool drink and rest in her favorite chair. She was watching the wind make the Spanish moss dance like smoke through the trees. When her eyes returned from the heavens, she noticed Raymond was on the porch, and she quickly grabbed her broom and brushed him off. She was about to take a little nap in her chair when there came Raymond again, making his way a beeline for the door. She stopped just in time with the broom again and hollered at him to go find another place to go. She sank back down in that chair for a third time and drifted off into a very special place. While she slept, Raymond silently made his way into the house. When Dorothy awoke, she went into the house and started working in the kitchen. She was not a woman who was easily startled, but she jumped when she heard a commotion taking place underneath her bed. She couldn't believe her eyes when Raymond dragged out that rattlesnake from underneath her bed and proceeded to eat it. She granted Raymond free roam of the house after that. Well, in another part of the story, in the morning, she's working in her garden and she sees this scruffy old man walking down just right out in front of where the garden was. And she engaged the man, and she was surprised to find out he had a Scottish accent. He said, "My name is John, and I'm on a floral pilgrimage because I have never seen tropical plants. I arrived in these parts aboard a steamship in Fernandina, and I'm headed to the St. Johns River. You know, this world, we are told, was made especially for a man, a presumption not supported by all the facts. Those whales I saw off your coast, are they supposed to be storehouses of oil for us? What about those venomous beasts, the thorny plants, the deadly diseases? I believe it proves that this world was not made for us alone. For me, I believe in the immortal truth and the immortal beauty of nature." Well, Dorothy thought about the ramblings of this old man, but she treated him kindly and bid him farewell. He said, "You know, my name is Walking Johnny. I bid you good things, Mr. Walking Johnny." With that, the stranger left, ignoring the path, and he walked straight into the woods. So history tells us that Walking Johnny was actually Johnny Muir. He did arrive in Fernandina And he did walk along the coast down to the St. Johns River, where he took a boat, he went down to Palatka, and eventually made his way to Cedar Key. His plan, of course, was to go from there to Texas and then out to California. But he got really sick in Cedar Key. It was malaria. And when he eventually did recover, he went to Texas, went to California, went to Yosemite and discovered Hetch Hetchy Valley, and he created our national park system.